For the delayed start due to the executive session this morning. It is 8:54 a.m. President Hoster, De Cordova, Floyd, Bacon, and Ford. I believe Commissioner Ford, is it? No? Commissioner Hoster. Would you lead us in the invocation or pledges this morning, please?
We ask our Lord to provide guidance to this Commissioners Court as they make decisions that affect all the people of Tom Green County. We're very pleased to have the warmer weather and the moisture and hope for continuation. We also ask for good health and safety for all the workers of the county. All this we ask through Christ's holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoser. Anyone wishing to offer any testimony before the court, please fill out a witness testimony form. It's located on each corner and hand it to the bailiff, please. First up this morning, we have the consent agenda. Consider approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Item B, consider treasurer's claim register in the amount of $500,289.54. Consider treasurer's bills to be paid report in the amount of $1,408,564.98. Item C, consider purchase orders in the amount of $323,409.60. Consider acceptance of Tom Green County and CSCD personnel actions as presented. Item E, consider acceptance of $100 to the Crisis Intervention Unit by Chris Myers. Item number F, consider acceptance of the February 2015 County Clerk Court Collection Report as a matter of record. Item G is tabled at this time. Item H, consider acceptance of the Justice of the Peace Official Monthly Report for February 2015, Precincts 2 and 3, Judge McGuire and Judge Buck. Item I, consider acknowledging completion of NIMS training. IS 400 by Judge Floyd. Woohoo, that's the last one I got to go through. I'm done.
Judge, if I may, with this acceptance from the Commissioner's Court, Tom Green County is in 100% compliance. Thanks to the MOU that we have good film.
Okay, well, good, thank you. And thank you for your leadership, I guess, to say in a diplomatic way of staying after all of this.
I have another one for it.
And I will have to make note that I was the last one to get us to the 100%, but I did have several classes canceled, so it took me a while to get one that happened. So we have got that done. So, okay. Do we have any additions or corrections to the consent agenda? All right, with the exception of item G, if it's tabled, I have a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented with the exception of item G. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 9, there is no action from any matters discussed in the closed executive session. Item 10, consider line item transfers and budget amendments. JP3, removing $675 from non-departmental travel into JP3's travel account. And when we made those cuts to the budget that I presented to y'all, we based it on 13's expenditures during that portion of time, specifically for JP3. None of their clerks got to go because of the turnover. So the formula that we used unduly shorted them, so there's just enough to get them up to get their clerks to school. Constable Precinct 4, budget decrease from revenue, transfer LEOSE revenue from state comptroller to the training account, $659.15. District clerk from Fund 19, miscellaneous $3,500 to travel and training for them to attend the Tyler conference. Constable Precinct 3, from fuel, $850 to office supplies, $200, and safety equipment, $650. Reimbursement to the sheriff for transferring from this over the body armor and the office supplies. And I think we're handling it that way and see how the fuel ends up at the end of the year. General fund, district courts, from reserves to office supplies. I think there's one particular order we have enough of for probably the next 5 years over there, so that'll come back to us eventually. That was somewhat of an oversight. All right, I move we approve the line item transfers as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussions, questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, item number 11, consider countywide burn ban. I think due to Bill Ford's prayers, I think we're able to put that off for a while.
I'd like to take credit for it, but I have to give it to a higher power guy. We're thankful.
All right, item number 11, consider a presentation request to conduct realistic military training within Tom Green County for joint military exercise. Tom Meade, if you want to come forward. Tom, did you fill out one of the
I did, sir.
witness deals? Okay. Oh, here it is. All right, thank you. Proceed.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you greetings from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, United States Army Special Operations Command at Fort Bragg. I just want to thank you for being able to brief the County Commissioners Court this morning on our exercise, Jade Helm, which is a realistic military training that we look to execute between July and September this year between Tom Green and Sliker County down here to actually be conducted throughout the state of Texas. My name's Tom Meade. I am a retired Special Forces senior non-commissioned officer. Currently, I'm a contractor working for United States Army Special Operations Command as an operations planner and an exercise developer specifically for Jade Helm. With me today, I have Master Sergeant Tim Robinson, who is an active duty Green Beret with 3rd Special Forces Group, who's assisting us in development of exercise. Tim's one of those guys that still goes back and forth between Iraq, Afghanistan, and the United States to defend our country. So, you know, I thank guys like that who continue to do that for us. My purpose here today is we're seeking written approval and invitation from the local officials to be able to conduct realistic military training within Tom Green County for Jade Helm 15. Just to give you a little bit of background, and I know that each one of the commissioners has a copy of our briefing, and I've had the opportunity as of recently to meet with Commissioner Ford and with the judge and kind of talk a little bit. And we've also met with Sheriff Jones and also Chief Deputy Pierce about this exercise as well. So just to kind of give you a background of what realistic military training is and what Special Operations Command down in Tampa, Florida, and United States Army Special Operations Command at Fort Bragg defines as realistic military training is any training that we conduct off of a federally owned installation. So when we're out in the public, for example, in Tom Green County, that is part of our realistic military training. We have a process that was designed by General Votel's staff that ensures that we do proper coordination between the Department of Defense and the local officials. Some of the things that we put in place in this process, obviously, is briefing the county commissioners and any municipality that we work in. So if we work inside of a city, we also brief the city council and get their approval to be able to work in that. One of the most important things that we do is we coordinate with all law enforcement. We make sure that the law enforcement is aware of everything that we're doing, every activity that is going on. We will coordinate with them prior to that. We do a full public affairs review. We have a public affairs officer at United States Army Special Operations Command who will look at it, and they also assist us in getting the message out to the public prior to the exercise kicking off as well. Our JAG lawyers also do a legal review of all the training that we're doing, and one of the most important things with doing this on private property and on county property is we do memorandums of understanding, memorandums of agreement, and land use agreements. Those land use agreements are between the private property and the federal government to allow us to be on that property to be able to conduct that training. So just to give you a little bit of background on what Jade Helm is. Jade Helm is a challenging 8-week exercise. These guys will be on the ground in Tom Green and Schleicher County for about 5 weeks, 5 to 5.5 weeks. Those first 3 weeks are their planning and preparation phase before they actually come into the scenario itself. It's a joint military and interagency operation. So we have all of the services playing with us, and we also have the interagency, meaning we have DEA folks, FBI, and some of the other agencies that we work very closely with overseas. Jade Helm is a United States Special Operations Command sponsored exercise. United States Special Operations Command is based out of Tampa, Florida. They're the guys, that's the command that controls all the Special Operations troops throughout the military. That means the Air Force Special Operators, the Army Special Forces, the Rangers. They also control the Navy SEALs, the Marine Special Operators. This is sponsored by them, and what it does is it improves our capability to conduct unconventional warfare throughout the globe as part of the national security strategy. To explain unconventional warfare just a little bit, I'm going to go at it from 2 different angles to explain it. Conventional warfare is uniform enemy on uniform enemy, tanks on tanks, formations on formations. Unconventional warfare is the opposite of that, and I'll give you that from a historic perspective. It is really the way that we fight more wars today. Unconventional warfare, if you think of World War II, I'm a big student of history, and you think of when Germany invaded France. They took over a country that didn't want to be oppressed. They stood up the French resistance, an underground element that fought the Germans on the backside, doing sabotage, subversion. They cut logistics lines, things like that, to help drive the Germans out of their country. What a lot of folks don't know is throughout World War II, there were American advisors with the French resistance. That was the Office of Strategic Services. The Office of Strategic Services is the forerunner to today's U.S. Army Special Forces. That's where we draw our lineage from. Since 1952, Special Forces has had the charter to conduct unconventional warfare throughout the globe. The exercise will run from approximately July 15th until September 15th. That's the whole span of the exercise. The guys we expect to be here between Tom Green and Slacker County, we expect those guys to be in somewhere around 7th of August, and we expect them to depart somewhere around the 8th to the 10th of September. We put the 5th to the 15th because I'm going to be around all the way to the 15th to make sure everything's good and taken care of and everybody was happy with what happened. Who and where we at, or who and where this exercise will occur. Here in Tom Green County, you're going to have Army Green Berets. I would tell you that the guys that will be here, fully qualified Green Berets. I would tell you about 95% of those guys are combat veterans. They've been back and forth between Afghanistan and Iraq. We'll have some Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs will be operating over in Mississippi and in Louisiana. We'll have Air Force Special Operations who will be flying for us. They'll be flying specialty aircraft, supporting our resupplies, and they'll also be supporting our infiltration into the area. The Marine Special Operators will be working down in the San Antonio area. The 82nd Airborne Division will be jumping into Camp Bullis. They have another exercise that we're linking together with our exercise, and they'll be bringing in a battalion, which is probably about 300 to 500 guys jumping into Camp Bullis to do missions on Camp Bullis itself. And then we'll have our interagency partners working with us doing the coordination. As the commissioners can see in the exercise locations, we're kind of from east to west, north to south throughout the state of Texas. We have some activity happening up in Caddo Lake. We have to the far east side, we've got a team that'll be operating in Hudspeth County. We have a team that'll be down in Goliad, and we'll have a team that's all the way up to Big Spring. So if that kind of gives you a scope of the state, we're covering just about every inch, because Texas has some great terrain and it's varied. So it gives a lot of different opportunity for these guys to train. For the Hill Country area and for West Texas, we're going to be working up in Howard and Martin County. We have a team that'll be working there. We have a team that'll be working between Slacker and Tom Green County, and then we'll have a team that'll be working in Kimball and Edwards County out this way. We have already briefed Slacker County. We've already briefed Kimball County. We briefed Howard County yesterday, and we briefed last month Martin County. So we've covered the bases for every place that we're at right now, and if we have not, and we identify some other places, we will continue to brief that. Why did we choose Texas? Number one, Special Operations Command has been conducting exercises within Texas for years. We've done numerous exercises in Texas throughout our time here. We've had the opportunity to come and brief these exercises as well. The other thing too is we know that Texans historically are supportive of our military, and training our guys, getting our guys trained for the next fight, not the fight that we just finished, but for the next fight, and making sure that they're trained properly to go do the business of the United States government. This exercise it requires a large area of undeveloped land with low population densities. This challenges our soldiers, sailors, and airmen to be able to conduct that training as they would operations overseas. Some of the challenges that these guys will experience is they'll be operating out of the normal support mechanisms that they've had the privilege of using for the last few years, or that we have been able to use, for the last few years. These guys, I was one of those guys. I received a aerial resupply once a week with food and resupply. We lived in buildings. I had internet access, things like that. When they come out here, I would tell you, when they're in Slacker County and Tom Green County, they're living under the stars. We're taking them back to some of those skills and rebluing some of those skills. So they will have to integrate with the local citizens to gain support for this. We have backside support who will mimic that, but we also like to have the local populace involved as well. They have to adapt to unfamiliar terrain. Unless they're from Texas and they're from the hill country, they're not familiar with it. They have to establish and they have to understand the socio-economic impacts of some of the things that they have to do as well, that we've planned throughout the exercise. And it gives them an opportunity to work with civilians. I've always said that Special Forces is a people business. We have to interact with people all the time. And we have to gain their trust. We have to understand what their motivations are. So and they have to understand the issues that the population is dealing with. So throughout our scenario, we'll be able to replicate that in this area. The impact on the area throughout Texas and the 7 states that we'll be operating in, we'll have about 1,200 members that will be participating. The bulk of that will be in the Mississippi area and in Florida. But throughout Texas, the footprint that we expect to see in this area is about 60 guys. We will have 60 people. 40 of those will be there'll be a 12-man ODA that is the primary training audience, but there will be people that are supporting them on the backside as well. We'll also have a simulated enemy or an enemy force that will be working against them. Funding for this, we don't bring all of our supplies in. We don't do that. I have a support cell, a 5-man support cell that will work on the backside that is responsible for making sure these guys have food, make sure that they have water, make sure that they have all the things that they need and transportation as well. So what comes along with that is they have trucks. We're going to be fueling trucks. I have specified role players that are very specific. They'll be staying in hotels. If the team requests I need 50 pounds of potatoes, I'm not calling back to Fort Bragg to have them send me 50 pounds of potatoes. I'm going to the grocery store and I'm buying 50 pounds of potatoes, and we're going to put it into the mechanism to make them recover it properly. So we see between the 2 counties, we see about $150,000 worth of economic impact coming to the communities. So for Tom Green County specifically, what we're looking at is working mainly down in the Christoval area, in Commissioner Ford's area. We've talked extensively, and sir, I still need to get with you. I'd like to discuss a little bit more of some of the land out there. What can you expect? Obviously, there'll be an increased military presence. You will not. It's not the trucks and tanks and things like that you're going to see. You'll see aircraft possibly flying at night to be able to conduct an aerial drop for them. While we're conducting when we're conducting operations, you may receive noise complaints. We try to mitigate that completely by going around and making sure that all of the residents around the area that we're conducting operations understand when we are conducting operations. We like to inform people as opposed to keeping it a secret. We want to make sure that, because what that does for us is, and for you as a county, is we make sure that we minimize the exposure of law enforcement to needless calls, because we know that there's a lot of other stuff going on, and we don't want to take those people away from true emergencies. Law enforcement, this is a theme that you'll hear throughout my briefing, is I am very adamant to make sure that law enforcement is completely aware of everything. We will sit down with law enforcement prior to any event happening and brief them on that day's activities if it's happening within Tom Green County. We will make sure that they understand what's happening. The guys will be carrying weapons. Those weapons won't be there will not be live ammunition. It'll be blank ammunition. We'll have 2 or 3 guys probably with live ammunition, only for protection from hogs, rattlesnakes, bobcats, things like that, to be able to, from a self-defense perspective. But the majority of guys will be carrying blank ammunition. The participants may be in a mixed uniform. Some guys may be wearing BDU pants and a T-shirt, or a BDU top and a pair of jeans. I know that's probably not out of the norm over here in the hill country for hunting season throughout, but they may be driving civilian vehicles as well, depending on what scenario that they're put in at that time. And the other thing too is some of the things that they do may look suspicious, look out of place, but that's the way they have to operate overseas. Because in the scenario that we have built, they're not supposed to be here. So they operate clandestinely throughout the environment. Some of the safety measures that we take into account, that is the number 1 priority for United States Army Special Operations Command, is the safety of our troops and the civilian populace that we're working among. Again, daily communication with the law enforcement agencies to make sure they understand what's going on. We also invite the law enforcement folks to actually be on site or in close vicinity when we're conducting operations as well. That way, they're able to quickly respond to any constituent complaints as well. One of the other things that we have been discussing, and every county that I've worked with is a little bit different, we also inform the commissioners that control that area as well that we're operating in of what's going on. Because we understand it's not always law enforcement the first person that gets called. It may be you as the commissioner who gets called of, why are these guys, what are these guys? Now I'm calling the sheriff, and then the commissioner is able to head that off for us. We have medics with each element. Each Special Forces detachment has 2 medical sergeants that are assigned to them. My 5-man support cell will also have a senior non-commissioned officer medic who is responsible for any of the evacuation of something that the team medics cannot handle. We've already coordinated with Shannon. We understand their life flight procedures, what we need to do to contact them, and then anything that's beyond that. One of a very important thing that we do as well is we mark all of our participants. All of our participants will have an armband that identifies them as part of the exercise for Jade Helm. That means not only the soldiers that are participating, but also the role players that will be participating, because we try to garner support from the public. We understand this exercise. I keep saying is the exercise with Special Forces is, it's a people business. We work with the civilian populace. So we like to have the support of the local populace, because the local populace knows the roads, they know the back and forth, they know all the people, and it adds to the intelligence value that we're trying to get the injects into our soldiers, for them to be able to build the great intelligence picture and be able to do the operations that they truly would do that. But they will be wearing armbands, and if, for example, a lot of times we try to get the sheriff or we try to get the local law enforcement to be a role player for us at times as well. They'll wear a band as well, and what we try to do is we'll do a traffic stop. We'll have them do a traffic stop just to check what their story is, why they're doing what they're doing, where they're doing it. Kind of puts a little heat. Law enforcement's really good at asking questions. But with that being said, we make sure that they are marked. Everybody understands that it's part of the exercise, because we do know that law enforcement does do regular traffic stops. So without the visual recognition, the guys should, if they do not see the marking, they will act appropriately and understand that it's a true traffic stop. We do a thorough risk mitigation assessment. We make sure that we coordinate with all the local residents prior to anything happening. I found it interesting, you on the agenda today, you were talking about the burn ban. That's another thing that we do. We make sure we review all the fire conditions with the local emergency management folks. We understand what, if there are burn bans in effect, that way we can make sure that we're not doing anything outside what you guys require as well. We make sure that we have fire extinguishers and everything at our sites as well, because the guys will have to cook while they're out there. And then our public affairs officers are involved as well. Our public affairs officers do public announcements. In the past, we have done things like newspaper ads, radio ads, and they also link with the local television news services to do announcements as well that the exercise is occurring. So, barring any questions or concerns, that is all I have. For the commissioners, I tell everybody during the briefing, the most important page, all those other slides, you could probably throw away, but the most important slide is the last slide. And I say that because that is our contact information. If you have any questions, any concerns, anything comes up, please do not hesitate to give me a call. What I would tell you right now, the work number's on there. We just recently moved offices, so my work number's incorrect. The easiest way to get hold of me generally is my cell phone. And then if you send me an email, please send it to both of those emails for the simple fact that one I can get while I'm traveling in Texas, and the other one I can only get when I'm back at Fort Bragg. So I appreciate your time this morning. Does anybody have any questions or that I can answer?
Well, at the signing ceremony for moving our Veteran Service Office over to the Workforce Board, that Commissioner Bacon certainly was very instrumental in getting that done. I'd made a comment that probably Tom Green County, Texas as a whole, Tom Green County has always probably gone above and beyond to support the profession of arms. Part of it is they're part of our DNA, they're part of our military, part of our family here. You know, you look at the origins of Tom Green County, support the military post and owned to Mathis Field. So I hope that never changes here for us and our support to defense of this country. So I expect a motion from this court. Basically, the action is to issue a formal letter of invitation to the commander of the U.S. Army Special Operations Command. And so that's the action that's needed. So,
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much, sir.
Me, Sergeant Robinson, thank y'all for y'all service.
Thank you, sir.
I'll sign two. And I guess you want to get them recorded in the minutes, and then we send those things off. All right, we've got two that probably, I know you are going to have to probably leave us a little bit early. There's a couple of things that involve some discussion, our catastrophic payroll policy and our opposition and support to Senate Bill 7. You want to move those up on the agenda so you can participate in those. Okay. All right, we're going to move up in the order to item number 18, consider resolution in opposition to Senate Bill 7. And ask this to be put on the agenda. Senate Bill 7 is one of several bills that's out there. It looks like it's the one that's got the most traction at this point in time. That, as Commissioner Bacon had commented, it's being sold as a property tax reduction bill, of which it is not. We currently have revenue caps in place that if we exceed those caps, then our citizens can petition for an election to make those corrections to it. This it cuts that increase to 50% of that at 4% and triggers an automatic election. And I'll just read the proposed resolution to you. Whereas the Texas legislature places a long list of responsibilities on counties to provide vital functions of government, and whereas Tom Green County must enforce the laws through the Sheriff's Department, build and operate jails, and support the state's criminal and civil court system, maintain county roads and bridges, Tom Green County must protect the integrity of and provide public access to property ownership and transaction records and other vital public documents. And whereas Tom Green County's road construction is a large and growing expense because state and federal transportation programs have failed to provide adequate highway construction and maintenance funding to keep pace with population growth. Whereas the Texas legislature mandates that Tom Green County provide many services but no state funding except for a few small grants and limited in certain funding areas. Whereas Tom Green County collects less than 25% of the total tax bill for the taxing district, and Tom Green County homeowners have seen no increase in property tax rate for over 10 years. Whereas revenue caps are not a property tax reduction but would diminish local control and would tie the hands of the Commissioner's Court by limiting its ability to provide services like libraries, 4-H and extension, nutrition programs, other essential services such as public safety, indigent health, indigent defense. And whereas the Texas legislature revenue cap will mandate Tom Green County to conduct an automatic election and costs will be paid by the taxpayer of Tom Green County. Whereas Tom Green County applauds the Texas legislature's effort to limit the overreach of the federal government control on the governing of the great state of Texas, Tom Green County opposes the Texas legislature's overreach in governing the great county of Tom Green. Such control has been and should remain with the citizens and taxpayers of Tom Green County. Now therefore be it resolved, Tom Green County Commissioners Court on this 10th day of March 2015 does hereby express its opposition to efforts limiting local control of local government and does hereby oppose any attempts to impose revenue caps upon Texas counties, and the Commissioners Court expresses its deep appreciation to all legislators who oppose these unsound measures. Any additions or corrections or?
Adequately covered our feelings.
182.
182.
We need a motion to,
We need a motion to approve the resolution.
I move we approve this resolution.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution as presented. Any further discussions or questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 14, consider catastrophic event payroll policy to meet NIMS requirements. Speaker?
It's just being brought back before y'all. We did submit two different versions, one with the leave, one without the leave sentence, and the presentation is the same. It's one of those things that we have to have in writing in case of a disaster as declared by our county judge or by the governor or even higher up federally.
Okay. Well, I got to thinking about this to a certain degree. If we can somehow add to the definition of the emergency is anything that could possibly qualify for emergency reimbursement, damage reimbursement, then I don't have a problem, because I'm assuming that most of the people this are going to affect are people that I could recall from vacation or leave policy back in. So if I have that control under the declaration of emergency that reaches a reimbursable level, and I have the ability to recall them for vacation to report to duty, well, then I don't think it's unfair that we would appropriately compensate them. But I just kind of wanted to limit it to that level of catastrophe, not the fact that we've got a little flooding and I need.
Well, I believe, and I'm sorry I didn't bring this up over here. I thought I was supposed to be for a second. but it talks about certain catastrophic events, including but not limited to hurricanes, tornadoes, other acts of God, nuclear, chemical, and biological emergencies, terrorist attack, or any other emergency declared by the Tom Green County judge as a declaration of disaster or federal or state authority. So, and that is the definition that I pulled directly out of the FEMA. If you'd like to give me the verbiage that you want added, we can certainly do that.
Well, that may cover it as a fact that since it's my declaration,
Yes.
then I make that decision unless the governor
Comes in and trumps you,
on
yeah.
it, I have no choice but to become that thing.
Yes. Now, that is not to stop, this policy would not stop, like what happened when there was some isolated flooding in certain areas and that commissioner brought forth and wanted special pay. That would not stop from a commissioner to bring that before court. This is just itemized for the disaster.
Yes, we dealt with those specifically for that event. I think
Correct.
did so appropriately. So as far as a policy, we have to have this for FEMA and policy for FEMA to get our reimbursement. So I believe in dealing with that. I think that I support the original wording as presented,
Okay.
with that understanding that I'm basically in control of when
You're
I
in control of it.
Generally,
Yes,
if
sir.
that declaration by the governor or I make it, then that makes it an event that is reimbursable.
Correct.
And that's 90% of what we're going through the training, get the MOUs, and get our policy in place so we can remain qualified
Correct.
for those reimbursements.
And I do believe, Judge, you would be the first person to pull the trigger, because if it elevated and handled more counties, then that's when the governor would come in.
All right, well, I move that we approve the catastrophic event payroll policy as originally presented.
Would that be option one?
Yes, option one, please.
Okay.
Have y'all looked at?
Yeah, we found it. Oh, yeah, we got it.
Yes. And where I kind of changed my position on it is the fact that if I do that, well, then I have the ability to recall anybody and everybody that's out that I need. So that's pretty heavy-handed, responsibility to do to them. So that's kind of the trade-off that we would take them into consideration if that happened.
Have a motion, don't have a
Uh,
second.
I was going to say, you made the motion, and I'll second.
All right, comments. That's just from the center chair here is my comments.
I think the only question I had, I don't know if we got clarification on it, was as far as paying for the sick leave or holiday leave, on the FEMA side of that, is that reimbursable?
It is in the,
That's the only thing I was concerned about. If
it is in the sense of us paying the overtime. They would come in and pay us all of that.
Right. I just want to make sure.
Well, not all of it, up to the limits that we're
Right.
eligible for.
Okay, good, thank you.
I'd like to see a little wording changed here. Instead of saying acts of God, say acts of nature.
I have no problem with that.
I mean,
Clarify the responsible party.
well, we're talking about hurricanes and tornadoes, and, windstorms, hailstorms. I don't think those are acts of God.
That's what the insurance company calls them when they have
Well,
them.
we're not
And
insurance.
that's right. I agree.
As I stated, if y'all want to change it, we can. I copied it directly out of a FEMA lingo that covered all of what a disaster was.
Well, I have no trouble amending my motion to read acts of nature instead of acts of God.
I agree.
Pardon me?
The term acts of God is used throughout every type of
Just mean,
reimbursement. That's standard terminology. We're not questioning that whether it is nature or not. We're just going with what's standard. Sorry, I'm wrong.
that's what the insurance companies always say.
Last time I brought this before.
They call it an act of God, and I said, well,
It is.
talking about different guys.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Comment? Not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Just to clarify, we're changing the word God to nature. Is that what was in the motion? I will get you a fresh copy.
All right, back up to number 15. Consider accepting the auditor's monthly report for February 2015.
Did we do treasurer's report?
We need to go back to 13.
Oh, did I skip a page?
Yep. 13.
All right, Ms. Speaker, since you're already up there. Consider approval of the 2015 Treasurer's Monthly Report.
Yes, it is as presented. I would like to tell you that being 5 months into our fiscal year, we are on track to exceed slightly our interest revenue. But in greater detail, we are actually on track to spend less than our bank expense. So that's good news on both points.
Okay. All right. Any further questions, comments about the Treasurer's Monthly Report for February 2015? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion to second to approve the February 2015 Treasurer's Monthly Report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now, number 15, consider accepting auditor's monthly report for February 2015. Ms. Gale?
Morning. So we have the February Auditor's Monthly Report, which the only thing that you might have noticed that there's 8 letters attached to it that normally we don't have, and just to put you in perspective that we're trying to follow up and finish all our 2014 audits, and this is the end of them, and we're starting our 2015 cycle, so that's why there were so many. But are there any questions concerning the monthly report?
Any questions, gentlemen?
No question?
Well, if not, I move that we accept the auditor's monthly report for February 2015.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, item 16, consider approving an increase in salary due to refactoring a position. Sharon Whitfield, the district clerk.
I am excited about changes in the courts and what all e-file has presented and how we're dealing with that. And I want to compliment the court on you guys' involvement and preparedness, preparing Tom Green County for really what to me is a centuries of how courts functioned, and we get to be part of that. So I know many. Pardon?
Plus, we had no choice.
Exactly. But I know many courts around Texas and clerk's offices and commissioners' courts that are scrambling around trying to put things into place to comply with the e-file mandate and creating a paperless environment, because if you add technology onto what you're already doing, it does not in any way save you money. So I think that we are ahead, hands down, way above, past that, and we are in a position to save money much quicker. So that said, in October, a position became available in our office, and I elected not to fill that position, giving money back to Commissioners Court, and I still am not going to fill that position. I think that we are completely complying with and exceeding what we need to do in order to function as a clerk's office and provide support to the judges. But what I am doing is looking at each position, determining what exactly needs to be done to kind of shift our thinking from someone who just drops paper into a file, which we don't have anymore in civil and family, to being more of a role of kind of a quality assurance type, looking at different things, making sure that we are doing the work that we need to do. And one thing that I think is very important is maintaining and looking at the specific things that will make everything function. And as we move to criminal, I think that we even have a bigger role to play in that, because criminal is civil family we've been doing since 2003. We've been e-filing, but criminal we've never done that. And so there's some key things that need to happen. What I'm proposing to you today, we refactored a position, does not in any way take away responsibilities that this person is already doing. It is adding additional responsibilities to them, and I've called it operational manager. And what this person is doing is basically reviewing our processes. We're creating a manual. We're even going to create some videos for staff training that I think will be key to being successful in what we're doing now and continuing on in criminal. It is an increase of $2,626.78 in the annual salary, which I do have in my line item because I did not fill that position. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
All right, so you're eliminating the unfilled position.
Correct.
And creating an operation.
Well, creating different duties that I'm adding to a current position.
Oh, okay.
So it's a net decrease.
Yes.
Overall.
Overall, absolutely. And this person, basically what the functions that are being added to this is that they will be reviewing our processes, creating a work manual, keeping that up to date, and then managing the efficiencies and the processes that we're going to have to develop for criminal. This person in particular has a lot of knowledge about technology and what all we need to do to be ready for that. And if that person were not there, I would need to look for someone different than what you normally would in a deputy clerk, because you can't just have someone that can file papers and answer a phone now. They really need to have some tech savvy knowledge, and it's just a different game now, and I'm trying to embrace it. And I'm excited. I love change, but there have been some challenges because, like I say, we're changing something that's been done a certain way for 200 years. So.
Well, and this becomes a component in a proposal I'm working on to bring to the court, hopefully fairly quickly, about really dealing overall with operations of courts and
I mean, just as
get some
outside
help to offer some suggestions about how the total process, just primarily on the criminal side, starts from stem to stern to see if we can gain some efficiencies. And so this dovetails in somewhat with, I think, where we're headed. So,
just as an example, someone will file a civil lawsuit and it may have 10 or 12 exhibits attached to it. If you have the paper, it's easy to flip through that, but you have to think about a judge sitting at the bench trying to find Exhibit 10 and how that needs to be organized in a paperless environment, how they can get to that quickly. So we have to rethink how we're providing that file, because it's no longer, a a paper file that they're going to be able to flip through, they need to be able to go and, instead of paging through, if you can imagine, a 300-page document, how we need to create that and put that in a fashion that they can get to quickly when they're sitting there conducting a trial. So there's just things like that that we're coming across that we want to make sure that we're being effective in what we're providing to the judges. And this person basically will take on that responsibility, assist me in trying to make sure that we are getting what we need to do done. So.
Well, I certainly understand from a technology standpoint, anytime you get somebody within your area that can develop that technical expertise in the software pays you multiple dividends, because it's certainly something that our IT department, we can't sit there and put an individual person in every area and try to help that. And when they work in that area, they develop that understanding the flow of how that goes. Helps out a lot. Helps a lot. So appreciate your effort in pursuing that.
And this is not a increase in my line item. It's still in the salary line item, so it's just utilizing some of the funds from the vacant position.
Is those words of support a motion, Commissioner Beckett?
Yes, sir, it is. I was just fixing to say that. I would like to make that motion that we, approve her refactoring and salary increase for this position.
I'll second it.
We have a motion second to refactor a position. What was the position called?
It's a court service unit position that would be refactored and renamed basically operational manager. Yes.
Tom Green County District Clerk's Office. And approve the salary $28,993.12 annually.
Yes, sir.
Position.
$993.
$993.12. All right, any further discussions, questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And I'm sorry.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Terry as well for helping me out with
Thank you, Terry.
working that. Thank you.
Just doing his job. Just doing his job.
All right. Okay. All right, let's take about a 5-minute break. Commissioner De Cordovas has a commitment he's got to go to and be back. We've been here since 8 o'clock, so. Or if Commissioner Holster, if you want to move over, y'all can continue to ride on if you want to. We've got a few things left to deal with. So.
That's up to you.
Okay.
Pause.
Yep, we're going to recess for 5
Just
minutes.
pause. It's going to pause.
9:52, we're recessing for about 5 minutes.
Granted, because we'll still be going though, right? Active mics.
Hey, welcome back to the regular meeting of the Tom Green County Commissioners Court, March 10th, 2015. We are reconvening at 9:59 a.m. Currently, Prisoner Holscher, Floyd, Bacon, and Ford. First order, we're going to back up to number 10, consider line item transfers and budget amendments. Had a late one come in, a budget amendment. We had an insurance settlement within the Sheriff's Office, so miscellaneous revenues, an amount of $20,390 be transferred in the Sheriff's Office, 54 for automobiles. Is this the one the record got into, Archie, or?
No, we did this one ourselves.
Okay. Self-inflicted? No. Okay. All right. Okay, I move we approve this budget amendment as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussions? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. All right, we're kind of up to consider proclaiming April as Fair Housing Month. And it shows that I put this on there, but I have nothing in the file for it. Is it hiding in one of the other? We had a lot of late model stuff come in. Well, I move we proclaim April Fair Housing Month.
I'll second that. Sounds like a good month for that.
Oh, here we go. All right. Well, theirs is just a little more flowery than mine was. Whereas the Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 is amended prohibits discrimination in housing and declares it a national policy to provide within constitutional limits for fair housing in the United States. And whereas the principle of fair housing is not only national law and national policy, but a fundamental human concept and entitlement for all Americans. And whereas the anniversary of the National Fair Housing Law provides an opportunity for all Americans to recognize that complete process and the goal of equal housing opportunity can only be accomplished with the help and cooperation of all Americans. Now, therefore, the Commissioners Court of Tom Green County do proclaim April as Fair Housing Month in Tom Green County, which I got that done before I go, and does hereby urge all citizens of this locality to become aware of and support the fair housing law. A witness thereof passed and approved this day of March. So I move we substitute this language for my language on the motion.
And I second that flower.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now we're up to number 19, Ms. Charlotte. Tom Green County addressing issues.
No, sir.
Okay, you're the only one leading to an abbreviation of this meeting since I'm. Item number 20, consider ongoing issues dealing with Tom Green County properties. Nothing else?
None at this time.
None. 20. Number 21, consider issues dealing with the following ongoing grants and take any action necessary. Good. Nothing going on with grants this time, which is kind of unusual, so no action on number 21. Number 22, consider issues dealing with the following ongoing construction remodeling projects and take any action necessary. Mr. Killam, you messed up our record.
I do have something this morning.
Okay.
Construction is progressing as planned. We met yesterday, our every other week meeting, construction meeting, talked about a few items, and as a result, have two change orders I'd like to present this morning. These are change orders number 6 and number 7. Number 6 is dealing with the men and women's restroom on the first floor. A little bit to do with rerouting of some fiber cable. I think a small change in the vehicle registration, Becky's office area, rearranging that a little bit. Removing the existing ceilings in both those restrooms downstairs, the public restrooms, taking out the plaster above that, and reconfiguring the restroom itself. So that would be change order number 6. The amount for this particular change order would be $78,158, and it would not affect the owner's contingency if it's approved, although it would be a budget impact on the guaranteed max. So there's that change order, and then we also have change order number 7, which deals with the changes in the former Veterans Administration offices, which would pretty much demolish all existing walls in there. It would provide for essentially a shelf space when it's complete, and allow that to be developed for other things. Along with that, the mechanical changes, it would take mechanical and electrical plumbing changes, it would be necessary to provide those services to the purchasing area that will be in the back portion of that particular building. That's also covered under this change order. So that particular change order is in the amount of $48,240. Again, this would impact the guaranteed maximum amount, and we would still have $116,277 left in our contingency for the project. Haven't added those two totals together, but you can, I guess they would be considered separately anyway, so.
78 is number 5.
6.
6. 48 is number 7.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, and anytime you get into dealing with the, what year model building is this originally?
1947.
1947 model building you uncover. When you dig into things that are unexpected, aging plumbing infrastructure, rot, what have you. And then on the Turner building, which is where the veterans are, basically that was a pretty minimal impact that we were going to have originally, just to kind of get it where the fire code does, but this is a little different level of what we're doing. And also part of that is kind of separating out some future utilities and rearranging some things, since we now have a permanent place for veterans, and try to get that thing where it's marketable, get ready to build it out. So, does anybody have any questions concerning what Mr. Gillum is proposing? We'll take change order number 6 in the amount of $78,158, and that will be added to the guaranteed max price is what we're doing. I move we approve change order number 6.
I'll second.
Have a motion to second. Any further discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. And again, as commentary, several of us have sit through multiple construction meetings, so this is stuff that's been discussed and vetted through, so pretty much all of us are aware of kind of what we're dealing with here. Change order number 7, out of $48,240, again, be added to the guaranteed maximum price. I move we approve change order number 7.
Second.
Have a motion to second to approve change order number 7, primary attorney dealing with the Turner bill. Further discussions or questions? Not, all in favor say aye.
Sir. Sorry. Just additional information, this will change the contract time by 21 days on each of these change orders.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't get that in earlier.
Boy, Becky's head started bobbing back there when you said that, so.
Well, I know that my wall removal didn't cost $78,000.
Sure it did. You're the...
One wall did not cost $78,000.
No, that was just part of this.
That was just part of it. Although it might have been a major part of it.
We're only attributing
I'm kidding.
$76,000 of that to your request. No, that was a pretty comprehensive change order on that.
Don, 21 days per change order or combined?
That's, each of these change orders do state that the contract change will be by 21 days, so I'm assuming each will be 21, not total. So 42
I don't
days.
think it's expected that that's going to be the case. It just adds it to their...
They're doing well. I don't think it's going to impact the schedule, although they want to have that.
Just want to cover themselves. All
Yes,
right,
sir.
we'll just let the record reflect that both those change orders do affect the guaranteed maximum time on the project
Yes, sir.
also. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right, Q Park, or do you have anything else?
One more thing, just as clarification, reading this last sentence on here, they are separate 21-day periods, and the date of substantial completion for the first change order extended that date to December 7th, and then the second change order extended that December 28th. So that's where we're
I think their motivation is to get in and get this done.
Yes, I agree.
don't think we're-
That's all I have for today.
All right. We did deal with some issues it's having to do with the Keys building about the design of the second floor yesterday, so I think there will be some revisions coming that we will deal with on that.
3 signed copies each.
Region number 44.
So if
I didn't know it was
Archie-
going to require so much administrative part, or I wouldn't approve it. What?
So did Archie get to the notes? So Archie gets his notes.
Does his better work when he's in there in a cubicle.
No direct sunlight.
All right, I'll sign those in a minute. Okay, anything else on that?
No, sir. That's it.
Okay, all right, Pew Park?
We are moving right along. We've got we'll bring something to the court to update the work that's been done by our leaseor, the Little League, and the completion of the contract with the Parks and Wildlife Grant. We're just about to close it up
Okay.
and continue on with the rest of the park project.
All right, thank you for that report. Jails are still in process, moving along. Courts Annex, HDR was here all last Wednesday, so there's continued evaluation. I think they're moving towards a final report for us. Nothing else on ongoing construction remodeling. 23 items to be placed on future agenda.
G, it needs to be an action item. The consent that we tabled.
Oh, okay.
Any items to be placed on future agenda items?
I also got JP4's report.
Any future agenda items? If not, we move to 24 announcements. If there's no announcements, we'll move to number 25.
We have Leadership St. Angelo on the 12th.
Okay.
And
When is it?
1. Or is it 1?
Thursday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
It's coming Thursday.
Okay, and will one of y'all kind of preside over that? Because I think we have
Yeah, 1:30.
P4 executive committee going on at the same time, so I think I did let Jennifer know that, so
I won't be here.
we won't be here.
I got it.
I'll be here.
I think Bill and I got it.
All right.
there's a job fair going to be held at Howard College March 24th from 9 to 1.
I'll be there.
All right, any further announcements? If not, if there's no further business before the court, it is 10:14 a.m. and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Okay. I like that word. I got an answer.